Hi, welcome to Storycaster. This is a series that we are going to be doing that's kind of like helping how to become a better GM. Um, there's a part in the Storycaster game that, you ever heard of Kill Your Darlings? One of my darlings was this, it was called the Boon Reward System in Storycaster. And what it was meant to do is once we finish creating characters, the characters could have awarded themselves something called a signature item. And I absolutely loved this. If it was a reward for good gameplay. So when you got boon tokens, if you know how to play Storycaster, you've seen that before. But near the end, I actually had to axe that part from the game because a lot of people just didn't understand it. And it was because it needed some explanation. When you are doing world building and you're doing your character backstories, there's these times when there's just these really cool items that they don't need to be things that do damage. They're things that add character. I call them signature items. Other games call them signature items as well. And what they are, like Wolverine's claws, even though I know that it does damage, that is a signature item. But sometimes in a game, there will be animals or familiars or just something that just jumps out at you. And I wanted the DMs to really give a chance to, if it's appropriate, and you will be able to tell when you're playing, you'll be able to tell whether it's like, you know what, you really should have this one item to your backstory. And the reason why you should do this, don't always do it. Only you got to read the room here. You don't want to get, your players overpowered or anything like that. That's not what it's about. It's about giving your players something for them to really hold on to in their minds. I'll give you an example. I was playing a Harry Potter game, and when we were playing, one of my players made this really duplicitous, naughty girl, and I gave her a magic item that was called the Silver Tongue, and it was a literal piece of jewelry that went over her tongue that was made of silver, and it gave her a +2 to deceive. We were playing Fate at the time, which a +2 to deceive is a huge roll. I mean, it was a bit overpowered, but it was so good because she became this perfect liar until eventually in the story she gave it up, and when she gave that up, she gave up being dishonest, and she really grew up. It was such a great character arc, and signature items can do things like that. Don't think about them as being powerful. Think about them as adding flair to a player that a player can get excited about and be like, I know how to play that. Anyway, that's a signature item. I would absolutely consider adding something like that to whenever you're doing your character backstories, or when you're playing Storycaster. Anyway, see you next time.